did that carry? Reactions suggest it did. I think there's a case there. Robin Smith was stood up slightly. So he had to go down. It just carried.
There was about a quarter chance to Robin Smith at short forward square. And the score 258 with 2 runs added to take it up to that point. 5 wickets down for the Australians. Mark Waugh out for that brilliant 137. Steve Waugh is still there at the end on 57. And already there's a good little partnership with Ian Healy, who's unbeaten on 12. 8 extras in the total. And the bowling figures for England: 2 for 60 for Such, 1 for 84 for Embury from 29 overs and 5 maidens. A wicket for Mark Islet with the second new ball. And Bicknell is wicketless at a cost of 58 runs. The situation at the close of play on this second day, we've had 2 marvellous days. 276 all out England, 258 for 5 Australia. The Australians just 18 runs behind with 5 wickets in hand. And here now is Edgbaston, and we'll be back at 10:55 a.m. on BBC One in Grandstand for the moment. There's no tougher job than being a Test cricket captain. 2:05 yesterday, it all looked so easy for Michael Atherton, with the Australians struggling at 80 for 4. Then reality set in, and there was a brilliant 153-run partnership between the Waugh twins, Mark and Steve, and that left the Australians breathing right down Michael Atherton's neck. Welcome to highlights of the third day's play of this 5th Cornhill Test match at Edgbaston between England and Australia. We've had 2 wonderful days, fluctuating stuff, and some brilliant cricket played by the players on both sides. This is the way it looks so far as the England side is concerned. Starting the third day, the Australians 18 runs behind, 258 for 5. It's a real tense situation at the start of play on the third day. Mark Waugh having gone for 137. Steve Waugh is unbeaten on 57. We join him now. He's facing Martin Bicknell. It's the 4th over of the day, and 5 runs have been added.
That's well bowled, a full length, a little bit of movement. Let's get him out. I don't think Steve Waugh enjoyed that. No doubt in the mind of the bowler, but did he hit it or did he not?
Well, it was certainly the right length, and the area where we say should be bowling. Getting the ball to run away a little toward the slips. Well, he was certainly very, very close to it, even if he didn't hit it. So it's difficult for us to be absolutely sure of a thin edge watching on television.
Carried all right, but well, it's one of those only the man with the bat in his hand will know about. Merv Hughes is the incoming batsman. In the air, that's quite safe, and Merv Hughes is off the mark. Oh, well bowled.
Well, again, Bicknell getting the ball in the roughly the right area and getting some movement. And that really does make it seem ridiculous how he bowled yesterday afternoon when he was banging it in short. And this is what he ought to have been doing. And I'm sure that Mike Atherton's had a word with him this morning.
Oh, that must be close.
Yes, that's got to be somewhere near. Well, I think height more than anything. It looked pretty straight to me.
Marvellous century scored by Ian Healy at Old Trafford, that 102 not out. Big victory there for Australia. And ominously, a couple of DNBs did not bat. Straight to mid-off. And that takes Australia 1 run ahead of England. England bowled out for 276, Australia 277 for 6. Yeah, good stroke. Not the full strength, I don't think, but it's quite a chase. Well enough timed. Such an effective player, Ian Healy. He recognises a half volley when he sees one.
That's close. Merv Hughes is a dangerous customer, and England need to nip him out, and they thought they had done here, I think.
It's just allowing too much room for turn. The ball didn't really turn.
They're claiming that. Alex Stewart there, that was an astonishing little trot down the pitch and seemed to accept the final not out decision quite equitably.
Well, that looks just to it the pad and go around the back, and Alex Stewart coming rushing down here to congratulate Search. As soon as the umpire said not out, he turned around and went back.
That's over the top. Don't worry about that. Umpire Shepherd's looking for confirmation, but I'll be surprised if that's 4, then it had to be 6.
Well, it's just suddenly a quick whip of the bat, but in fact Gooch had been stood right on the edge. He could probably have made a catch of that. He just got in a few yards, so he has to go back, and he's struggling to get back, and he finishes over the line, but it's one of those, if you've been stood right as far back as you could go and then jumped, you might just have made the catch. Over the line, but it's one of those, if you've been stood right as far back as you could go and then jumped, you might just have made the catch.
Oh, the runs are coming too quickly now, and England are getting into trouble. Every run that ticks on is one they've got to get back, and popular opinion is that anything over a lead of 50 or 60 is going to be mighty difficult to deal with. Oh, made room. He's got it, 4.
Well, that was a quality shot. Any batsman would have been proud of that. That wasn't a bad ball at all. That was really good length ball, spinning back at him. And if you watch Merv Hughes, he gets away from the ball. He watches it very, very carefully and very late onto the bat. Look at that. That would have knocked middle out. That was superbly played.
That brings up the 300. Peter Such. Healy on 32. Kept low. What defeated him, it wasn't turn.
Yes, that's the only thing you have to watch when you're getting away from an off spinner that's spinning it back from outside off stump, is when the ball keeps low.
Not played there by Healy, but it's still worth 2 and maybe 3, depends on Merv. He's going. Oh, it's well run. 3-1-3 for 6. And that's the 50 partnership. And there's 4 more. It's a good strong hit from Healy.
Yes, it was a good hit, and you can see the confidence growing in these batsmen. Thrown up, tempting outside off stump. Now he's got the confidence to give it an old-fashioned smack.
Now there's a gap out on that mid-wicket boundary. Terrific fielding from Matthew Maynard. Covered at least 20 yards to his left. Just have a look at this, and you see the ground he makes, and he's done well to stop it. And then to get balanced and produce the throw he did was high class.
Shot. Top class, orthodox shot that. This shot is indicative of the confidence that's growing in Healy and Hughes.
Safely away. Very, very good cricket from Healy. Half century for him. Top class innings. He knew he was stretching Merv Hughes, not only the fielder and the wicketkeeper. He stretched his own man as well. And it was excellent cricket from the Australian wicketkeeper.
Healy, I think, taking the extra run because he realised it was Peter Such. He was going to the danger end. He knew that he was safe.
It's a good shot. He's showing a lot of common sense today with his batting in, Healy. Just picking off the ones that are there to be hit. There's no outfield. They've brought the outfield in for Healy and leave it out for Hughes. So Healy has just belted it straight over the top of mid-on. That is straightforward common sense. It's ambitious with Merv Hughes to attempt late cuts, but that was very delicate.
Subtlety is not normally a word that you associate with Merv, but on that occasion, very subtle.
Well placed. There's good common sense batting going on out there, and a stiff examination for Michael Atherton in the face of what is a batting onslaught this morning.
Slower ball again. Good stop by Stewart. No pace on it, but it was more or less bouncing awkwardly and almost along the ground when it got to him. Brings up to 350. Give him any width, and that's the answer, and that's why Hughes has played so well, because he's concentrating mostly on defence, but almost like a top-order batsman. As soon as something comes along off-line, he's ready to switch.
Yes, he might not be a stylist, but I say he's a big, strong man, and when he makes contact, he uses that right hand a lot. You watch that right hand there, it just comes in, and that's where he gets his power from.
It's 4 more, and this now is poor stuff from England. ...104 runs already this morning and still 10 minutes before lunch.
Plenty of width and short of a length as well. What Healy likes. Plenty of room.
Well, that's the 100 partnership. Direction wasn't good, it was middle and leg, but it was put away with terrific style.
Well, things are getting really desperate now for England. Another just pick-up shot away to the mid-wicket boundary, and almost 100 lead now.
And out. Finally the partnership is broken. And on the stroke of lunch, 3 minutes to go, Bicknell takes his second wicket in the end of a high-quality innings from Ian Healy, caught by Stewart, out for 80, 370 for 7.
And that's a fine innings there by Ian Healy. Although he made 80, he's made them at a good rate. He's taken the attack to the bowlers. And that was a quality innings. Only the batsman would have been proud of that. The front-line batsman. That's the second big score of the series. 80 off 107 balls. That's a good rate in Test cricket, even on the flattest of pitches. And he'd be disappointed to get out to this delivery. It was short, wide, and he'd be thinking this is 4 more. Probably just a fraction more bounce. There's no doubt that there's a deflection there. You could see that one. No doubt at all about that. He'd be disappointed to get out to that, though. He'd be looking for 4 runs there.
No more runs added to take it along to 370 for 7 at lunch. Hughes 34. Wonderful partnership between Healy and Hughes. The pace at which they scored was the key factor there. Do what the opposition least likes, and what England least liked in this morning's play was the fact that the acceleration was there for the Australians. And the bowling figures for England, Embury has taken a bit of a pasting there. 34 overs, 5 maidens, 1 for 115. 2 wickets for Such, 1 for Eilert, and Bicknell now has 2 for 92. The state of play in this game at lunchtime on the 3rd day, the Australians 94 runs ahead. We join play after lunch now. It's the 3rd ball, no runs have been added. Peter Such is the bowler, Merv Hughes is taking straight.
No slip, can't be any complaints. Everybody behind the microphones made the point that to go without a slip is not inviting trouble, but you can't complain if this sort of thing happens. Well, that's hit him somewhere. The crowd think they know where. Slow motion replay might help Ian Chappell to identify it.
I think the inside of the right thigh, which is bad news. It's worse when it's on a cold day.
Just inside the left thigh as well.
Hasn't missed off stump by too much, that one. Hasn't had much good fortune in his 2 test matches so far, Martin Bicknell. Well, maybe that changed with the dismissal of Steve Waugh.
Big appeal.
One that curves a little bit through the air from Peter Such. But too much turn there to get an LBW decision.
Bicknell to rifle. Chop.
pretty good shot from full rifle. Once again, an example of how the Australian batsmen have put away the loose deliveries.
That's well bowled, and if you're going to bowl short, make sure you aren't hooked by a tail ender, make him hop a bit.
Well, the ideal short ball is make sure it hits the guy. That may seem a bit harsh for listeners and viewers, but I'm sorry, it's a tough game. You're only allowed one bouncer of shoulder height, so you've got to get it up there and make it count. But this is the moment for Michael Atherton. It's really a tough time. This is where, as a young captain, you grow up fast or you go under.
Bowled him. Died of belligerent intent. But a very worthy innings that by Merv Hughes. 38 most valuable runs. And he had grand designs for that. By just cast a glance there to the mid-wicket boundary. But he's not finished with this match.
Yes, I wonder if the shot was born out of a bit of frustration here. He might have got a little bit of an inside edge. Yes, an inside edge there onto the stumps. England have kept it tight. Australia haven't been scoring many runs since lunch. I think it was getting to him. Well, Shane Warne, he's no mean performer with the bat. He certainly was in the league. He played for Accrington in the Lancashire League. Got a few runs there, so we've got to get him out. Don't want him hanging around.
Well caught, but not out.
That one turned quickly, Tony. Hit him on the thigh pad.
So 384 for 8.
I'd regard that as a pretty good shot from a tail ender.
Salak trying the bouncer. Played it pretty well. Not sure he got his head out of the line. Seeing him make contact with the bat, it didn't really matter.
Very good shot. Full rifle, same as Ian Healy and Merv Hughes, has selected the ball to hit. Hasn't made all that many runs. He's gone to double figures now. But it's been a good effort. Gone. Wicket. 398 for 9 now. Shane Warne goes. Little edge. John Embury takes the wicket. And success for England. Very close now to ending this Australian innings.
Shane Warne trying to play the sweep shot. Back of the back glove and just a lob up, and in fact he did walk there, did Shane Warne. Umpire John Hampshire just confirming. Off the back of the glove, in fact. Got through the shot too quickly, which you can do when playing the sweep shot on this type of pitch.
Kim May, the new batsman. 398 for 9.
Ground to a hold, bowled him, and that's the end of it. Peter Such as much a Yorker as anything, which probably spun. Rifle goes, bowled by Such for 20, and Australia finally all out 408.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it yorked him. He looked to be trying to steer it. It's right up there, right in the block hole. He's turned a touch maybe, but I think it yorked him for length. He was trying to steer it. He'd actually misread the length.
That's a terrific performance from the Australians, 408 all out. A great effort from Ian Healy. He made a century at Old Trafford, 80 here today at EDGBASTON. Good partnership with Hughes, who made 38, and excellent performances from Rifle, Warne, and even May, who only made 3 but stayed there for quite some time. 17 extras, 408 all out, and the bowling figures for England. Only 4 bowlers used. Such bowled 52.5 overs for his 3 for 90. Embry 2 for 119. Bicknell, tremendous trier. Did a great job out there. 34 overs, 9 maidens, and 3 for 99. And Eilert 1 for 85. That's the position at the break between innings. The Australians 132 runs ahead, and I would think fairly confident. We join them now in the second over. It's 5 for no wicket. Paul Rifle is the bowler. Michael Atherton, the batsman. May's the fielder. Gosh, that's well bowled for an uncomfortable man.
Yes, again you see movement out off the seam. Can't say anybody's really seamed the ball much on this pitch, but Merv Hughes getting to move again there, and he's done that throughout the whole series.
Nice stroke, we get 3 for that. Alan Border is the chaser. 3 from that over, all of them made by Graham Gooch, and that's moved him up a notch in the leading test run getters. Alan Border is on top. Sunil Gavaskar, Shabir Miandad, Vivian Richards, David Gower, and Graham Gooch has just moved ahead of Geoffrey Boycott. At about same number of test matches. Gooch has played 2 fewer. And there's 4 more.
Well, that's vintage Gooch shot. So the foot doesn't go a long way, but the bat does follow through nicely. He never uses that left foot to go too far down the pitch. He moves after he's made contact, which keeps the body, the weight, moving into the shot.
That's a good shot. He kept right over that. That's a lovely stroke from Gooch. Wasn't all that bad a ball. Shortish, but it did climb at Graham Gooch. Could have got himself into all sorts of trouble if he hadn't played it quite perfectly.
Thick edge. What do we for? Takes Gooch to 20 and the score to 30. Nicely played. Didn't try and hit it too hard, but that outfield's quick. Crowd believe it was 4, and umpire Hampshire has asked for a picture just to see. Third umpire Alan Whitehead will now be looking, and this is what he'll be looking at. Well, the ball didn't hit the rope, or did it? It's given it, and there we are. Another line decision. well outside leg stump. No argument about this one, just two. Raybank crowd letting Tim May know that they weren't too impressed with what they thought was a clear-cut boundary. Only decided after a line decision from umpire Whitehead. 46 now for no wicket, 22 there for Gooch and 21 for Allison. Deficit was 132, now 86, being whittled away slowly. Oh, that was no sort of shot.
That was all type of failing, that. Graham Gooch playing across the line. Look at that outside off stump, trying to shovel it through mid-wicket.
Oh, and too close to try to cut, got away with it. He's lived dangerously the last two deliveries. 2 runs for it. Terrific shot. Perfect placement. That's the 50 partnership. No argument about that.
Now that's a big appeal. No shot played. That's well bowled. It's a very dangerous little tactic, that, by Mike Atherton. Now you have to judge whether that would have hit the wickets. And certainly aiming that way last time I looked at it. Rather a desperate shot from the England captain, and now he really needs to keep it cool out there. Moments of real uncertainty here for Mike Atherton. It's not easy. Fielders in front of him on the onside, on the offside. And Tim May jumps as Atherton pads. The ball goes through for 4 byes. I think you have to say that that round went to Tim May on points. Oh, that could be out. And Atherton this time says, I don't believe it. I don't know where John Hampshire was going, why he had to look at the other umpire. Carried it certainly did. It flew like a rocket at shin high. So Mike Atherton goes 60 for 1.
The ball hitting the pad, must have hit the pad and then gone onto the bat, I would have thought. But if you have a look at where Shane Warne is, you'll see why Jack Hampshire needs to check with the square leg umpire. Warne is right in line, and that's obviously the reason why Hampshire's had to check. He couldn't see the ball caught. It was caught well above the ground, but obviously his view was being blocked. Oh. That's a flipper gone wrong.
Graham Gooch at first appeared to hit that into the ground, but there was plenty of bottom hand in it. It really went on and on to the long off boundary.
There's plenty of food for thought for Robin Smith out there with these 2 spinners operating. He hasn't had the opportunity of playing himself in against medium pace or quicker bowling. Strong square of the wicket on the offside. Has his own method of playing spin. Made a century here against Tim May in the limited overs game. That's 4 more. That and Steve Wall will be able to cut that off. And that's the area where Shane Warne has been finding problems. In the replay, you'll notice I suggest that it's his right shoulder that's pointing at the batsman in delivery. Almost invariably bowls it short. Just waits for a loose one, hits it again, places it beautifully.
Yes, the safest way of playing the leg spin is to look to square off the back foot. If you look to drive off the front foot the way Shane Warne spins it, you can get in a lot of trouble. You've got to be right to the pitch of it, but the shorter delivery is much easier to dispatch to the boundary.
That was a very, very dangerous ball. It was too much for Ian Healy.
What's so hard is that Shane Warne gets this drift into the right-hander, which then makes it very difficult for the keeper to see. And that really turned and bounced, and he'd only see that as it came past the batsman's bat. And that wouldn't give him much time at all. Very awkward.
No one in Australia for many years would have had to keep wickets to someone who spins the ball as much as this. Pitching outside leg stump. Not going to get that. Good ball. Might even have bowled him.
Certainly would have bowled him, I would think, but it did pitch quite a bit outside leg stump.
A very good performance there from Graham Gooch. 89 on the board, and he's made 44 of them. Robin Smith has 7, and Atherton, the man out, for 28. And England have wiped out a lot of the arrears there. A great performance. And the bowling figures for the Australians, the two spinners, they bowled 12 and 10 overs respectively. May and Warne, none for 23 and 1 for 24. Hughes and Rifle, not so effective on that pitch, but the ball is turning quite a considerable amount for the Australian spin bowlers. State of game on the evening of the third day. We've had 2 marvellous days, and then the third in front of a capacity house, quite brilliant. England 43 runs behind, and Gooch the man in charge. Here's Ian Chappell now, and with him is Geoffrey Boycott.
Today was a different day for the New England captain, Mike Lafton. A tough task, things not going well. What do you think, Ian?
Yes, it is the toughest task when you've got to save runs but still get the batsman out. I still think he's done a pretty good job as captain, and I think the potential's there. That's the important thing. I think he needs some help from the selectors. They've got to get the combinations right, and you've got an off spinner in Such who is good at tying batsmen down, but there's not a bowler in that side who can get the tail enders out quickly, and that's where England suffered today. Although I think the one bloke to me who looked like getting him out was Martin Bicknell. I got a bit of time for him. He's got some ticker. He lets the opposition know that they're in a contest, and I think he'll do a good job for England over a number of years.
Well, we're in agreement over Martin Bicknell. I liked his performance. Disappointed in Mark Eilert. Doesn't swing the ball into the right-handers. Very open-chested. That makes it hard work for a captain when you've only got one seamer. 2 spinners, the selectors left him with exactly the same type of spinner when he needs a variation. And just one little query. I'd like to see him bowl Graham Gooch just a few overs for variety.
Yeah, and remember, he was up against a tough competitor. That Ian Healy has done well for Australia in a lot of tough situations. It wasn't an easy day for him, but I still think he did a reasonable job.
A good learning day, you would say.
Exactly.
Ian Chappell and Geoffrey Boycott with their ideas on the state of play in this match. I thought Graham Gooch, towards the end of the evening, held the key. Ian Healy was marvellous early on, but Gooch tomorrow, if he makes a big score, he could put England right back into a winning position.